Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kenny Wallace Show. Is Denny Hamlin the new mayor of NASCAR? All right, here's where that started. Because I'm of age and I've been around NASCAR a lot. Years ago, it was always the King, Richard Petty. Richard Petty, 7-time champ. He's got a lot of pull. He puts people in the seats. He's got control. Then was Darrell Waltrip the mayor? His nickname was Jaws Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip would speak, everybody would listen, and then Darrell would win the race, so everybody would listen. One of Darrell Waltrip's most famous quotes was, "Y'all want to fight me? I'll meet you in the Kmart parking lot." Of course, I don't know if anybody ever showed up in the Kmart parking lot or not. Then the next mayor was Dale Earnhardt Sr., the man in black. I'll never forget Richard Childress one time. He said, "NASCAR better listen to us or nobody's going to show up in those grandstands." Dale Sr., he could control the sport. If Dale Sr. wanted to shut the sport down, he definitely could. So, now it's like, who is the new mayor of NASCAR? Well, Dale Jr. isn't the new mayor of NASCAR, but I would say he's a sheriff or he's a deputy. Even though he doesn't race, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is close. Jeff Burton was in there. Remember Jeff Burton? I nicknamed him the mayor of NASCAR. What I liked about Jeff Burton was the media. He was a media favorite because Jeff Burton's sound bites, he always put the fingers up there. Well, but I tell you one thing I loved about Jeff Burton. He always says NASCAR needs to be reactive. React, not, when I got that backwards. They need to be proactive. Need to fix it before it happens. Don't react to something after it happens. So NASCAR needs to be proactive, not reactive. In other words, if you see something that needs to be done, let's do it. Let's not wait for it to happen. So there's my disclaimer, right? I told you about the history of the mayor of NASCAR. So who is the new mayor of NASCAR? It has to be Denny Hamlin, right? Here's why. Over the last week, Denny Hamlin has got pretty brave. And it was the great Cale Yarborough that once said to me, he says, "Be careful, Kenny. There's always somebody bigger than you." Sometimes I assume, did he mean God? Or did he mean NASCAR? Or did he mean your boss? It is true. There's always somebody bigger than you. Yeah, we all want to be the same. I'm in control of my own life. Listen, I believe what Cale Yarborough told me, and I agree with him. There's always somebody bigger than you. Denny Hamlin has taken on NASCAR. He said over the last week that they need to change their business model. And I'm like, whoa, here we go. Because I'll never forget, what was it, back in the 60s or 70s, when some drivers boycotted NASCAR and they wanted to start a union. They wanted to start their own deal. And old Big Bill France said, not going to happen. Wouldn't be prudent. Not going to do it. So these NASCAR race car drivers back in the 60s or 70s, they boycotted Talladega. You know what Big Bill did? Said, okay, bring it. Who wants to run the race? So back in the days, they had like the lower series. They ran the race with them or without them. There's an old saying, I'll never forget it. Dear friend of mine said, "Herman, they're going to run that race with you or without you." So when you take on NASCAR, you got to say, how's this going to benefit me? Denny Hamlin has the GOAT. His partner in crime is the great NBA player, Michael Jordan. Their drivers are Kurt Busch, who just won a big NASCAR race, and Bubba Wallace. Denny called out NASCAR during the All-Star race and actually had fun with them. Now, remember, we don't talk bad about people. We talk about what we see. And I believe Denny Hamlin is the new mayor because he's really calling NASCAR out. Number one, he said the All-Star race was no go, and he said NASCAR needs to create a new business model. And you know, we're on the fence whether we're going to keep going or not. Now, my disclaimer is I don't know if that was the exact quote, but Denny Hamlin could be pretty powerful right now, right? He's got Michael Jordan with him. And I mean, you know, okay, for all you old goats out there, maybe Muhammad Ali, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is still most likely to be one of the most recognizable names in sports history. However, I believe that Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, kind of go hand in hand. All it would take is Michael Jordan to go, hey, NASCAR, I'm out. You're not doing it right. That would be national news. That would be world news. So, but I do believe that there's always somebody bigger than you. You know, NASCAR is having a tough time coming back right now. Do they want to fight this? You know, do they want to sit down and talk with Denny Hamlin and see if they can make their business model more friendly to the owners? You know, you look at a guy like Roger Penske or Richard Childress. NASCAR's been pretty good to them. They've given them a platform. Hey, here's NASCAR. Here's the racetrack. Here, we got it all. Do you want to play? And so far, Roger Penske, Jack Roush, you know, Richard Childress, they've all played. Listen, it's always been a love-hate relationship, but it's worked out pretty well. Now you got the new style owners. You know, Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, Brad Keselowski. You know, right away, I see two drivers that are racing, right? You got Brad Keselowski. So it's Roush, Jack Roush, and Fenway, who owned the Boston Red Sox baseball team, and Keselowski. You know, Roush, Fenway, Keselowski. Now, he's driving, and he's part owner. So then over here, you got Denny Hamlin. He's driving for Joe Gibbs, but he owns this team that Bubba Wallace and Kurt Busch drive. These circumstances are getting wild. Now, I do know that in the past, Ricky Rudd, Darrell Waltrip, they've owned their own deals, but they didn't say much. They were just, they said, get me out of this mess. You know, when you look at what Darrell Waltrip did and when you look at what Ricky Rudd did, they made a mistake. They didn't have deep pockets. They didn't have a company that was constantly making money. Darrell Waltrip and Ricky Rudd, Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, they all got rid of their NASCAR teams as quick as they could because they made a mistake. To own a NASCAR team, you have to have deep pockets. You have to constantly be generating money. You can't rely on your sponsors 24/7. When you look at some of the big boys like a Roger Penske could fund his team for 5 straight years. But that's not the way you make money. So you see where I'm going. Back in the day, you couldn't do it. Nowadays, you got these big names. You got Pitbull, the great singer. He's teamed up with Justin Marks. Their driver is Daniel Suarez and, you know, Ross Chastain. So you're seeing a different dynamic in NASCAR. You're seeing some young, crazy, wily, fun car owners that are driving the car. They're young, they're aggressive. They're willing to rock the boat. That's the way I see it. So I believe Denny Hamlin is the new mayor. What does he have to gain? Well, maybe he wants to be in NASCAR his whole life. You know, Michael Waltrip tried it. That's another one. Michael Waltrip tried it. It didn't work out, and here's why. Michael didn't have deep pockets. He had some owners, but they're like, hey, man, we're losing way too much money here. I'm talking like if you're going to be a NASCAR car owner, you have to be one of the world's or United States most wealthiest people. I've said this on Speed TV and FS1. You look at the owners in NASCAR, they are some of America's most wealthiest people. Google their net worth. Remember John Paul Menard, just Google John Menard, like one of the wealthiest people. Google Roger Penske. Google Michael Jordan. These people are worth billions of dollars. So, if things go awry, they can weather the storm. But I think one of the most interesting things was, Denny saying, well, we're committed, but we don't know. So, in my opinion, Denny Hamlin is the new mayor of NASCAR. He's willing to give his quotes. He's not afraid. Hell, I even noticed that my old buddy Dale Earnhardt Jr. That Carl Edwards video I did. Dale Jr. came out on Twitter and, excuse my language, but he said that was a bullshit caution, Herman. He said it right on Twitter. It's right on my timeline. So I'm seeing Dale Jr. Even Dale Jr. said that race was horrible. He said he had more fun eating his rice cakes. So I see more and more people, more high-end people. Now, these are, you don't see the Richard Childerses and the Roger Penske's. These guys in their 70s and 80s, and they're like, what do I got to gain? I see Austin Dillon starting to step up, and will Austin Dillon be the new owner of RCR? Will he be mature enough? Will Richard want to hand it over to him and Ty? So you're seeing some new innovative owners. They have to ask themselves, what do I have to gain? Will NASCAR punish me? Or, and I'll leave you with this, is NASCAR mature enough to go, okay, let's create a conversation. NASCAR's always ruled with an iron fist. We'll see how it all goes. But Denny Hamlin is the new mayor of NASCAR. As of now, hey, let's watch the flag man. If they start black flagging Denny Hamlin, we'll know that he's been talking a little too much. All right, then, man, the conversations and the soap opera going on in NASCAR has been pretty wild lately, but it's a good show. Enjoy the show. Remember, I once said, look, you don't got nothing invested. And you, the fan, said, yes, I do. I pay $100 a year for my cable network. You all are too much. So, all right. Thanks for listening, and love you all. And respond right here, subscribe right here, and tell me, what do you think will be the next drama?